Only 6 people have joined. Is there a last class still going on? Yes. Okay. No, sorry. Anyway, so far we discussed about the continuous system, right? How to solve the continuous system using the mode superposition method. Okay? Since for continuous systems also, uh, what is called the orthogonality of the mode shapes is also valid. Okay, because the same physical system is same, right, or similar. So and obviously the orthogonality the properties which actually has a physical meaning, but that I have discussed here. Okay, so that can be used to uncouple the equation of motion. Okay, and you can solve individual equations to get the final response. And I have taken one example. I think for simply supported beam subjected to a step load, right? Step load at the middle of the beam. So similar type of example you can take, or you can see from the books, different books. Okay, and try to solve it by yourself. Okay, so I'll give one of the problem like that in the end semester exam. Okay, so today I'll finish my course. Okay, so maybe I think 34 or 35 lectures I have taken, and which I feel is good enough for this elementary structural dynamics. Okay, and it is good that you are learning, and many people have registered for this course and learning this subject. Okay. So let me first finish this. That is the Rayleigh's energies method. Okay. So what we have discussed for the multi-degree of freedom system. So here also we are going to develop that expression, that is the Rayleigh's quotient, right? That we discussed right in detail for the multi-degree of freedom system. That we told that the Rayleigh's quotient R. Just a minute. So Rayleigh's quotient, if you remember, the Rayleigh's quotient R, which is a function of this U mode shape, which we are calling as the omega square, is nothing but U transpose K into U into divided by U transpose M into U, right? And we have shown that this ratio has the bound, right? So it cannot be less than the first eigenvalue, and it cannot be more than the highest eigenvalue. That we have shown. It's a very interesting property it has. Okay, it's bounded and it has a stationarity. Okay, it has a minimum value and the stationarity in the neighborhood of the fundamental frequency, that is omega 1 square. Right? So and we can choose U in a reasonable form or reasonable manner so that we can get the values of the fundamental frequency. Like for multi-degree freedom system, I told you can choose U based on the static displacement of the each mass. Okay, under the loading. Just you can the shape under the static loading, you can just put it U here and you get a good approximation of the fundamental frequency. So similarly for the continuous system also, so this Rayleigh method is quite helpful, and it is actually even more helpful because for continuous system, if we have seen how to find out the natural frequency in mode shape for cantilever beam, simply supported beam, and I asked you to do for some different other boundary condition, right? Different sets of boundary condition. So you'll find that those closed form expression for eigenvalues and eigen function are only possible for a simple type of system. Simple means for uniform system, okay, not varying in mass or everything, stiffness property. But if the stiffness distribution, mass distribution, cross-section dimensions, all those things varies, okay, with the length of the beam, okay, and then it is impossible to find out in a closed form manner, okay. So in those cases, you have to go for some approximate method, okay. So that actually leads to the approximate analysis of continuous system, converting the approximate system to the converting the continuous system, which has an infinite degrees of freedom, to a finite number of multi-degree of freedom system. Okay. So that is it is not in our scope. Okay. So its starting point is basically the Rayleigh's energy method. Starting point, just okay, and that moves to the Rayleigh's method. That is actually more helpful. Okay. Okay. So let us derive similar expression for the continuous system based on the kinetic energy and the potential energy, the way we have discussed for the multiple degree of freedom system. Okay. Considering only the beam problem. Okay. So for the beam problem, what you have to find out? You have to find out the potential energy and the kinetic energy, right? So what is my potential energy? So before that, let me write the what is the transverse displacement. So Vxt is nothing but the due to variable separation, space and time, and we know that the For synchronous motion, the time dependence is harmonic, which is nothing but some constant c into cosine omega t minus p, right? Okay. So now, what is my potential energy? So potential energy, let's say now it is confusing. Now V is also potential energy. So I'm just writing here potential energy, just potential energy I'm writing. Okay. So potential energy half integral of 0 to L due to beam bending, right? I hope you know it. Okay. I've discussed a little bit earlier also once time, I think. This is del V xt by EI d2 Vy, right? I think, if I'm not wrong, d2 Vy del x2 whole square dx. Okay. It is basically the, remember the strain energy. Strain energy stored due to bending m square dx divided by 2EI, right? That integral of 0 to L, right? M square dx divided by 2EI. Or you just refer to your strength of material or solid mechanics book, and most probably you have learned it. So now m equals to EI. Here del 2 because of time dependency, del 2 V by del x2. So if I substitute there, I am getting this, right? So here 1 EI will get cancelled, half is outside, and square dx, correct? So this is the strain energy stored due to bending. Okay, because we are ignoring the shear deformation, so that's why you are not including the strain energy stored due to shear. And you must know, already know that for slender beam, okay, thin beam, the shear contribution due to shear in the expression for potential energy or strain energy is much less as compared to the bending. So bending is the predominant. So this is nothing but your strain energy due to bending. Okay. So now I can substitute this Vxt here, and so if I substitute that, what I will get? So C is my constant, so half will be there, and if I, so two derivative of V, right? Okay. So half, if I substitute here, so it will be C square is a constant outside, then I'll get 0 to L. Let us keep Eix inside. It can be a function of x. If it is uniform, then it will come out. Okay, right? So then what is happening? This will be now whole derivative of v x divided by dx2 and its whole square, right, into dx, and then this is the time dependency, so there is no change. So cos square omega t minus p. Is there anything wrong? Just check it. Is it correct? C square will come out, and then Vx, and then will be cos square, correct. So what is the maximum potential P max? Okay, so maximum will be when this will be 1, right? So that is half C square integral of 0 to L Eix d2 V x divided by dx2 into dx whole square. So this is the maximum potential. Any issue with this? Anybody has? Similarly, now we'll find out what is the kinetic energy, okay, of the system. So kinetic energy will be in a similar manner. I can write half mv square, right, like that. So half mass per unit length mx varying, and velocity, that is del v by del t xt half mv square into what? Dx, right? Over the domain. So now substitute v here and tell me what you are getting. Okay. Substitute v, that is this one. Okay, that is Vx c cosine omega t minus p. Substitute here and tell me what is the expression.
Sir,
Yes.
in kinetic energy, dx will not come, I think.
No, it is the integration is over the whole domain 0 to L, right? Dx domain integration. This is for a small element. So for the whole domain, you have total kinetic energy of the system. So the integration is over the domain.
Okay.
So minus half.
Minus. How can minus square is there?
So like,
How can minus square is there? No? Be careful about this. You see, here the derivative with respect to x, EIX del to v by del x2, derivative with respect to the x, because that is the strain energy due to bending, right? And here the velocity, half m velocity. So velocity is
Half into
half into
c square into omega square
omega square.
into integral 0 to L.
Yes.
Uh, that
X.
thing, sir. M of x into dv by dt whole square. Dt by dt whole square, sir. D capital T by dt whole square.
D capital V.
The Vx square.
This one.
No, sir. D capital T.
D,
Capital
where is
T.
No, don't put t. T is this, right? C cos omega t minus. You are substituting this. You are getting c square then. How you are getting c
Vx
square?
square sine square omega t minus 5.
Again, tell me mx into
Vx square
V square x, sir. V square x.
x square
into sine
dx.
square
Yes,
dx
sir.
into sine
square omega t minus 5.
omega t minus. All are agree with this expression? Anybody has any difficulty in getting this expression or not agree with this expression? Let me know. So be careful about this thing. So here the derivative is the space dependent. That is because of the strain energy due to bending we are considering, right? Strain energy. And here it is the time derivative with respect to time, because it is the velocity, right? I want to find out velocity. So V is the displacement, that is the transverse displacement or bending deformation of the beam, P, small v. Okay. And the derivative with respect to time is give you the velocity. Okay. So if you do it, you will get like this. So again, the maximum kinetic energy will be when this will be 1. So it will be half c square omega square integral of 0 to L mx vx square dx. Correct? So this is the maximum kinetic. Now equating, so at any time the conservative system, so the total kinetic energy will be maximum to the total potential energy, or in other words, the maximum kinetic energy is equal to the maximum potential energy. So if I equate that, that means if I equate this one like we did for the multi-degree of freedom system, if I equate this and this, okay, so I'll get using omega square, I'll get, right, omega square I'll get is as the, so half will get cancelled out. What will happen? So this will be in the denominator obviously, right? Okay, c square will also get cancelled out, right? Half c square will get cancelled out. So half cancelled out. Integral of 0 to L mx vx square dx, and in the numerator there will be this one EIX, this thing. So EIX d2 vx by dx2 whole square dx. Okay, agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the Rayleigh's quotient, nothing but your Rayleigh's quotient. So I am just repeating here Rayleigh's quotient R, which is now a function of Vx, eigenfunction. Okay, that equals to omega square equals to integral of 0 to L EIX d2 Vx by dx2, okay, whole square dx integral of 0 to L mx, what is that, Vx square, right? I think Vx square dx. Okay, so that is the Rayleigh's quotient. Okay, so these are known to you, how the EI flexural rigidity is varying or the mass is varying, or if it is constant then it will just come out the integral. Okay, so what you have to assume is the only the Vx, right? You have to assume the Vx, and if you can appropriately assume Vx which resembles the fundamental mode shape or the first mode shape, then you will get the first frequency. Okay, an approximate value of first frequency. That is the like a Rayleigh's method. And here also it can be shown that then again it cannot be less than omega 1 square, and it cannot be more than the obviously the infinite value. Okay, okay. So now just for an example, right? So we'll choose it for example. Okay, so let us say simply supported B. Okay, SSB, simply supported B. Okay, so we have to choose. So this is actually the eigenfunction, right? If you know the exact manner Vx, then you will get the exact value of omega 1 square. Correct? The fundamental, if you know the fundamental mode shape or fundamental eigenfunction, then you will exactly, you can find out the omega 1 square. But let's say you do not know, and I want to choose a eigenfunction or the mode shape Vx, which that's why it's sometimes is known as the trial function. Okay, you have to choose a trial function, but your trial function has to be such that it must satisfy. This you remember. Okay, must satisfy the geometric or essential boundary condition. essential boundary condition. Okay, geometric or not a geometric or essential boundary condition. Okay, that you have to satisfy. The function that you are going to choose here that must satisfy the geometric or the essential boundary condition. Okay, so if I assume that, although this I know that's why I'm writing, so pi x by L. Okay, so if I let us say Vx equals to sin pi x by L. So what is the geometric boundary condition for a simply supported beam? What are the geometric or essential boundary condition for a simply supported beam? Two boundary conditions.
Bending moment and displacement 0.
What are the geometric or essential? Bending moment is the force boundary condition.
Displacement is equal to 0, sir.
Displacement is 0.
Both the nodes.
V at x equals to 0 is 0 and V at x equals to L is 0. Correct? So these are the two geometric boundary conditions. Just check it whether this is satisfying or not. The trial function that I have chosen is satisfying or not. The two essential boundary conditions.
Yes.
So you can choose any other thing like exponential or whatever. If you choose a polynomial kind of also, that also you can do. Now if you just substitute there Vx equals to sin pi x by L in the Rayleigh's quotient and tell me what is omega 1.
So pi square by L square root V by.
Yes, so that is actually what? That is your exact value, right? Pi square by L square root over of Ei by m. Okay, this is the exact value of the natural frequency of a simply supported beam. Why it is exactly what? Why?
Because the trial function is the first.
Yes, because the trial function itself is the eigenfunction, right? You see, for the r equals to 1, sin r pi x by L. So for r equals to 1, it is sin pi x by L. Okay. So the trial function that you have chosen, okay, is nothing but is the exact eigenvalue. Sorry, exact eigenfunction. Exact eigenfunction. So that's why the frequency, the fundamental frequency that we are getting, it is the exact. Okay. So that is the beauty of the Rayleigh method. Okay, so you can choose different types of trial function and try around that. Okay, what I mean, close approximation you can get it. Okay, but it is difficult for always to get a trial function like that, and also even it is convenient for all the for fundamental modes, but it is not so suitable for the higher modes calculation. Okay, so that's why there comes the method, the Rayleigh method. Okay, just added, I mean that improved by W. Reeds. So he has improved this method. Okay. Although in that method Rayleigh do not have any contribution, but since Rayleigh has discussed about first this method, so the method is usually known as the Rayleigh test method, very famous method. So although I am not going to discuss here, but I will just give you what it is. Okay, I'll tell you, and maybe if you wish, then I will just keep the PPT there, or you can refer to books also. Although in the books you might find it a little difficult to understand at the first place. Okay, maybe Meyerowitz you can refer, but that is also in much detail. It will be difficult for you to understand. The book's name from where I have used this note right now, I'm not able to recollect, but I will tell you. Maybe just give me some time. Okay. So what I am trying to say is that you see, so Rayleigh method, so that I have discussed, right? So you are exactly getting the fundamental frequency because the selected mode shape or the trial function that you call is called shape function also, because the shape function terminology is coming from the actually finite element. Okay, actually it is a trial function. Okay, happens to be the true vibration mode shape of a simply supported uniform. Right? So this one that you have chosen, which is satisfying my essential boundary condition or geometric boundary condition, is nothing but the first vibration motion of the simple. That's why you are getting the exact value. That is omega 1 square you are getting. Rayleigh method is concerned only with a crude approximation of the system fundamental wave. Crude approximation, right? Okay. Here I know already for a simple uniform beam that is the omega square. Sorry, I mean this is my trial function. That's why I just quoted it, right? Quick estimate of the fundamental frequency of a continuous system for which the solution of eigenvalue problem cannot be readily obtained. So you can just get an approximate idea. Okay, so it will be near to that. Okay. Rayleigh's question provides an upper bound of the first eigenvalue. Rayleigh's question has a minimum in the neighborhood of the lowest natural modes of vibration. That we have already discussed while we discussed the multi-degree of freedom system. To obtain more accurate estimate of the higher modes, use the Rayleigh-Disk method. Okay. So that not only gives the more accurate estimation of the higher modes, more accurate estimation of the fundamental mode, as well as you can calculate the other modes also. So that is nothing but in the Rayleigh method, what they are choosing is that they are saying that the Vx, my trial function, will be series. Okay. So C1, it is trying to say that like sine pi x by L, C2 sine 2 pi x by L, C3 sine, like that. Okay. Some sine or cosine or any arbitrary function. Okay. And it's a series in that series. So you just try to, that's satisfying obviously the essential or geometric boundary condition. And then you just try to increase the number of terms in the series and you will get a convergence in the frequency. Okay. So that was developed by W. Rees. Okay. It's an extension of the Rayleigh's method. So it is simply a procedure for lowering the estimate of omega 1 square. So you have to reduce the fundamental frequency, because you know that Rayleigh's quotient can never be less than omega 1 square, right? So just try to reduce it. Okay. And see after you will, after certain time you will see that by increasing the number of terms in your series, you will not get a substantial reduction in that quotient. Are you understanding my point? That means I'm trying to say that, so you are increasing the number of terms in that series, right? In the series approximation of the eigenfunction, series approximation. So you get that, so you see with one term here you will get, let's say this is my exact solution, right? This is the exact frequency, omega 1 value. So with one term here you get 1, second term here, third term here, fourth term here, like that you will get. Obviously you will not get exact value, but it will almost asymptotically close to. So here you can stop, right? So with those many number of terms, okay, 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, 4 term, so you can just stop it. Okay. And not only that, with 2 terms you will get an approximation of the second frequency also. So that I am calling it a circle. Okay. 3 terms you will get a third frequency. So this approximation will improve and you will get another frequency. That is, let's say this. So again for the second. So it will converge. Yeah, it not only, as I already mentioned, it not only provides a means of obtaining a more accurate value of the fundamental frequency, so that you are getting accurate value, and also it gives approximation to the higher frequencies and mode shape. Okay, the Reed's method is essentially the Rayleigh method, in which the simple shape function is replaced by a series of shape functions multiplied by a constant coefficient. That I told, right? C1 multiplied by some sine or cosine term plus C2 plus C3 multiplied by that thing. So it's a series. So simple idea was very, very useful. Okay. You can read it by your own if you are interested. Okay. So should I keep the Rayleigh's method in the PPT if you are interested, although that is not a part of your syllabus, okay? Or I will not ask any question in the exam. So should I keep in the PPT, or I will be able to read from the books? Yes? Tell me yes or no.
Let it be in PPT.
Okay, I'll keep it. Also, you can refer to Meyerowitz. You can refer, but Meyerowitz you will find a little bit intensive there. You just refer to PPT, which I have used most probably from the. If you have the soft copy of the book, just check it. I think I have not mentioned this book yet during the beginning of the course. What is the name of the book? Theory of Vibration with Application or something like that. Okay. A very old and very famous book by W.T. Thompson. Okay, here you can find. Okay. Here, a much simpler way they have represent. That's all. You can find out in many other books. I have given an example here. A bit of simpler way they have represent, which I have used in my PPT actually. So you can just read from the PPT. Okay. So any question regarding this Rayleigh's method? So let us summarize quickly. Okay. So before closing the things. So what we have discussed in the elementary structural dynamics course, okay, which is also sometimes known as the theory of vibration, engineering vibration, okay. You will find the name of the book also different, engineering vibration, theory of vibration. Although those terminologies are more popular among the mechanical or the aerospace engineers, okay. And so since we are structural engineering people or civil engineering community, so you prefer to use the structural dynamics, okay, right? Okay, and actually in structural dynamics, we cover the broad areas, like from harmonic excitation to earthquake excitation to wind excitation, different types of excitation we cover. Okay. So, and there are a lot of things to learn for you. Okay, it's just an elementary level course. Okay, so here broadly classify we have done for discrete system and continuous system, right? So here the mass and stiffnesses are discretized. Okay, you can find out here stiffness, here mass separately, but here you cannot find out. Here it is all distributed, right? Distributed parameter system. So there we discuss about the single degree of freedom system and multi degree of freedom system. That is here number of degrees of freedom is more than one. So here we discuss 2 degrees of freedom system for our convenience, and then the general multi degree of freedom system. Okay. So what we have discussed in the single degree of freedom system? First we discuss the undamped free vibration, right? If you remember correctly, undamped free vibration, right? We have discussed, and then the damped free vibration, and there we discussed about damped free vibration. There we discussed about the underdamped system, overdamped system, and critically damped system. Right? Those 3 types of damping system we have discussed. Okay, and in our most of the structural system, okay, it is the underdamped system. The zeta is less than. And there we discuss about the logarithmic decrement to find out the damping ratio, right? From the decay, exponential decay of that response. Okay, so if can find out the damping ratio zeta, and then we move to the force vibration, right? Force vibration of a single degree of freedom system. So in the force vibration, we first talk about the undamped force vibration, damped force vibration, and force vibration first we consider the harmonic loading, right? Harmonic load, that may be sinusoidal or cosine, right? And here we discuss many things, right? That the resonant condition, then there are 2 parts of the solution like the transient response and the steady state response. Transient and steady state response, right? And with this regard, we have discussed about the dynamic magnification factor or M. The formula, if I hope you remember, the magnification factor we have discussed, and then we talked about the transmissibility ratio, right? 2 types of transmissibility. One is, let's say one machine is vibrating, what is the amount of force it is transmitting to the ground or the foundation, and another is you are giving a base excitation, what is the then force and the displacement it is transmitting to the main system, right? Force transmissibility and displacement transmissibility, and we have seen that those are expressions are same, right? Okay, and we have then discuss the different vibration measuring instrument, vibration pickup or vibration measuring instrument, vibration measuring instrument, right? We have discussed. Okay. By suitably choosing the properties damping and the stiffness of that single degree of freedom mass string mass system, we can use the that string mass system as a accelerometer or the vibrometer like that. Okay. Okay. So then we discuss about one more method of finding out the damping ratio, that is the half power bandwidth, right? Half power bandwidth. Then we discuss about also the from the hysteresis to how to find out the damping ratio, right? From the energy dissipation, that also we talked about. Okay. I might miss something now, but I am just summarizing what are the major things we have discussed. Then we talk about the periodic loading, right? Which due to Fourier series I can express as a combination of sine and cosine term, infinite number of sine and cosine term. Okay, although in theoretically infinite number is required, but the few initial terms are good enough to represent in a reasonable manner. Okay. And since we know the response to the harmonic loading for a single sine function or cosine function, we can do it for the periodic loading by the superposition, right? Then we discuss about for any arbitrary type of loading, right? Arbitrary loading. So there we discuss about the concept of unit impulse response. Unit impulse response, right? And related to that, Duhamel's integral, that's basically convolution integral. Okay, Duhamel's integral, right? Then we talked about loading due to pulse, different types of pulse loading, right? Rectangular pulse, then the triangular pulse, those types of things. And related to that, we have discussed about the shock spectra. Okay. So after that, we move to the 2 degrees of freedom system, which is nothing but a special case of, special category of the multi-degree of freedom system for easy understanding. So in 2 degrees of freedom system, we first derive the how to draw the equation of motion using Newton's law, and later on we learn about the Lagrange equation of motion. Lagrange equation of motion, that's basically based on the kinetic and the potential energy. So here, equation of motion using Newton's law is based on the free body diagram, right? Okay. And then we talk about the synchronous motion, right? Synchronous motion. Time dependence is harmonic. Both the coordinate undergoing similar time. Time dependence is same for both the coordinate, right? Then here we talked about the important thing, that's the eigenvalue problem. Okay, remember the k into u equals to omega square m into u, eigenvalue problem, right? Okay. So then from that solution we will get the eigenvalues. The square root of that is the natural frequency, and then you will find out the u, which is the mode shape or eigenvector, right? Then we discuss about the orthogonality. Very powerful and interesting property, orthogonality of mode shapes. Okay, and using that orthogonality, we discuss about the modal analysis or mode superposition method. Mode superposition method or modal analysis. Okay, that writing the solution that xt as a summation of modal coordinate, eigenvector and the modal coordinate qi, ui qi I equal to 1 to n, or in modal matrix form u into q. Okay, u is the modal matrix, right? So then we see how to find out the response of a system. Then we talk about the, I think, the damping, right? That's Rayleigh damping. Damping, how to construct the damping matrix. Damping matrix we have discussed. Okay, modal damping ratio. First we discuss about the mass proportion, stiffness proportion, and then the Rayleigh damping, that is C equals to A naught m plus A1 k, right? Remember the Rayleigh damping. Okay. Then in the multi-degree freedom system also we formally derive all those things, and formally we have discussed. Okay. I don't know whether I am missing something. Okay. Then yeah, in the 2 degree of freedom system, one important thing we discuss is the tune mass damper or dynamic vibration absorber. Dynamic vibration absorber, or the TMD. In the civil engineering community, it is popularly known as the tune mass damper, right? Remember, one primary mass, that is K1 M1, subject to harmonic loading, and then I am attaching a small mass, which is absorber mass, by tuning the frequency of this, that is omega 2 equals to omega forcing frequency, right? By tuning that, I can completely eliminate the motion of this mass, right? So that is the concept of the tune mass damper or dynamic vibration absorber. We discussed that thing also, which is basically a simplest form of vibration control purpose. Okay. Then we discuss few methods to find out the system natural frequency and mode shape, right? Natural frequency and mode shape calculation we have discussed. Like there are Dunkerley's method to find out the fundamental frequency, right? Then we discuss about the matrix iteration method. Matrix iteration method. Then there is a Holzer method, right? And I have shared a Excel sheet also with you, just to change it and see what happened. Then we talk about the, what is there, Jacobi's method, applicable for symmetric dynamical matrix. Then the Raleigh's method. We discussed this method, Rayleigh's method in detail, and we have shown that the range should lie within that Rayleigh's quotient. Okay. Then we just recently discussed about the continuous system, that is infinite degrees of freedom of system. Although continuous system is not only not only involved to the beam, it can be axial vibration of bar, torsional vibration of a shaft, transverse vibration of a string or cable can come into the picture, or the vibration of a plate also. So those are all continuous systems. But in your syllabus, we have only discussed about the beam problem, and that is also Euler-Bernoulli simplest type of problem. Okay. So you can incorporate the shear deformation and rotary inertia, that will further complicate it. Okay. We'll get the two simultaneous differential equation, that is for the Timoshenko problem. Okay. So that we have not discussed on the, but I just given overview what it is. Okay. So for that we first derive the equation of motion, and in this case we have used the simple equilibrium approach, that is using the Newton's approach. Okay. T-body diagram of a small element and writing the equilibrium of the forces or moment acting on it. That's all right. Although this equation of motion can be more conveniently obtained using the Hamilton's principle. Okay. Right. So then we go for the solution, and then we find out the again the eigenvalue problem here. Okay, and from that we obtain the eigenvalues and the eigenfunction. Right. And for two types of, since the equation of motion here, it is the initial boundary value problem, IVVP. Okay, initial condition as well as the boundary condition is required. So imposing the boundary condition for simply supported beam and for a cantilever beam, we have obtained the natural frequencies and mode shapes or eigenfunction. And then you have derived the orthogonality here also. Orthogonality here also, and using the orthogonality, we have shown how to use the again the modal superposition method or modal analysis to find out the response of a continuous system. Okay. And then finally we discuss about one of the approximate method, that is the Rayleigh's method for continuous system, okay, which can be extended to the Rayleigh's method, which is also known as the assumed mode method. Rayleigh's method is also sometimes known as a similar type. Okay, and that is actually leading ourselves to the approximation of continuous system by finite element method. Okay, so you learn this in your later stage in your life if you go for the higher studies. Okay, so with this actually I'll stop here, and I hope with this small scale what the idea I have shared with you for this elementary structural dynamics courses will be helpful for you, and I'm happy to see that that so many students are interested to take this subject. Okay, and even if you remember part of those things in your later career, then it will be definitely helpful. That time you will feel that yes, I have learned these things, I have know about this orthogonality thing, and major criteria, right, or major important characteristic of this course. Okay, and and so far we have finished I think 40 marks assessment, right? Although I need to upload the marks for the last two, that I will do now. Okay, and the mid same and the end same is remaining. So the mid same, as I have already mentioned, it will be based on the single degree and multi degree of freedom system, and the end same over the whole syllabus, but I will try to give more emphasis upon the continuous system, since we have not I have not given any much problem regarding this in your assessment. Okay. Okay, so and about that extra means that doubt clearing classes. So as per feedback from the CR, so there are very few people, I think less than 10 people have a doubt. Okay, so it is not worthy to take a class for that, because that will be wasted for time for me as well as for you. So if those who have doubt, okay, so they can directly contact me. Okay, I'll try to solve their doubt the best possible way. What?
Sir, actually, after that, few members messaged me saying eight members are requesting for a like numerical solving class kind of thing, sir. Like 8 members they are requesting.
Okay, so 8 members.
8 members.
Okay, so then I can take one class, will be good enough for 8 members, I think, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you just ask those 8 members to join, contact me. I mean, one of them he can contact me, and then I will just take one classes for them. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Because which topic they want, whether it is single degree, multi degree, continuous system, which topic they want, that we need to discuss, right?
I'll share the response, sir.
Okay, no problem. Okay. But I want to talk directly. That is okay. I'll talk to them directly. Just
Okay, sir. Sure.
anyway, you can just share that I mean feedback also, no problem.
Okay, sir.
So with this, just I want to tell you that I mean many people might, I mean sorry, few people might find this course little bit difficult and too mathematical, but it's really interesting. Okay, if you read on a regular basis, okay, and you try to understand the what the thing happening there, okay, then the mathematics is just for calculation purpose, right? To that leads to some expression or like to frequency modes like that, okay, and it definitely involve calculation, okay, but it's a really interesting thing. And it is not only applicable for the structural dynamic course that related to wind excited vibration or earthquake excited vibration that we civil engineering people study. It is from machine vibration to aerospace vibration to many other, right? And then once you learn the vibration, there comes the vibration control. Then experiment on vibration. Okay, so there are a lot of things. Okay, so I mean that is, then there comes the nonlinear vibration. Okay, if the system is nonlinear, that is another aspect, okay, which very few people study on them. Okay. So there are many things to learn. Okay, so if you are interested, you refer to those books that I mentioned. Okay, especially if you improve your concept. Okay, that is you please refer to the at the beginning level. I will tell you the Meyerowitz book. That's a classic book. Okay, the Leonhard Meyerowitz, either Elements of Vibration Analysis or the Fundamental of Vibration, because he has many books. Okay. And then if you want to specialize something, like for you want to concentrate on the earthquake engineering, then you refer to the Chopra book or the Klaffen-Kenjan book, because those are specially written for the earthquake related. Then for wind induced vibration, there are so many other books are available like those. Okay, right. And later on in your career, if you pursue the structural dynamics course in your masters, okay, or in your further higher studies, so you will obviously learn these things again. That is definite. Okay, so then it will be a good thing for you. And then in addition to this, there are many more things. Okay, that I sometimes touch upon. Okay. Uh, okay. So for 8 people, I'll conduct maybe one, or if required then two, maybe doubt there in classes, because they want to do some numerical things. No problem for me. So I'll discuss with them and I'll decide the time accordingly. Okay, see ya.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So with this, I mean, wish you all the best for your all the exams, not only for this subject, for all other subjects, and as well as for all your future endeavor. If you have any doubt, anytime you ask me. Okay, if I am free, that time I will immediately clarify your doubt. Or if I am not free, then I will obviously later give you time and clarify your doubt or help you, whatever possible manner I can do. Okay. So thank you all for your participation and your involvement. Okay. I wish you all the best again. If you have any comment, you can just tell me now. Okay, speak out, or you can write in the chat box also. Anybody want to say anything? Please speak out if you have anything to say, or write in the chat box. Anybody has any comment? Any comment? Anything to say? One guy has written, we enjoyed the course, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Any comment is acceptable. Or you can just directly tell me also, since we are right now online. So CR, please let me know the date for the mid-sem, okay? Final date and time.
Okay, sir.
And read on a regular basis little bit amount. Even if it is for 20 minutes also, spend that time. Okay? Just go through the slides or go through any books, go through any numerical example. Okay? The motto should be work hard and enjoy. That's all. You don't have to be always read or always enjoy. Right? So just make a balance of it. You'll definitely able to land it. And with the background you have, right, so you can easily overcome the difficulties if you are a little bit serious with that and if you read on a regular basis. Okay, so you have now a lot of time, right, before the end semester. So you just and 60 marks is still remaining. Okay, I mean most of you have done well in the assessment or whatever is done we have so far. Please be prepared for that. Those who have not done well, and you will definitely able to perform better. Okay. But don't keep your all the books notes aside that oh, this course is gone over. Okay, don't do like this. Any comment or any issue? Please tell me. We are running out of time. Please contact me if you have any problem in understanding any topic or any parts of the thing or any problem, right? And refer to the books that I have already mentioned. I think 4 or 5 books I have already mentioned. One is Meyerowitz, one is by Rao. I think Clough and Penjan. Then A.K. Chopra. Anything else? I think, what is that name? Mario Pach. Then there are so many others available because that you also can refer. Yeah, please, only 2 people have written comment. You write some good, bad comment, whatever coming in your mind, just write it. No, 6 people have given thumbs to one of the comment. 2 people give thumbs to the another comment. So what are the structural engineering courses you are doing in this semester? What are the structural related courses you are doing in this semester? Can anybody tell me?
Sir, RCC design and dynamics, sir. These two only.
That's true, right?
Yes, sir.
In third year, second sem. Okay. Third year, first sem, right? Third year, first sem.
Yes, sir. Third year first.
Okay, so nobody has any other comment. Okay, so I'll stop it here. Yeah, we wish to see you face to face when you come to the campus, right? If possible. Okay, so thank you very much all, and I wish you all the best for all your future endeavor. Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.